Well, this is the Report Desk Africa. Now, in the run-up to Nigeria's elections, President Bola Tinubu expressed his commitment to build upon the accomplishment of the then president, Muhammadu Buhari. Although it has only been 3 weeks since his inauguration, political entities from across the country have already begun to assess his strides so far. Now, some people are saying that, after all, he is the man for the job, and others are saying it's too soon to tell. Now, some are in support of his strategies and tactics, while others are definitely against. But News Central's Omoniyi, who is my co-anchor for today, provides deeper insight into this matter. Let's take a look.
In his inaugural address on May 29th, Nigerian President Bola Tinubu stated that he was ready to hit the ground running upon taking office. In less than a month, he has signed 4 bills into law, including a Data Protection Law, an Electricity Act, a Student Loan Act, and Judicial Officers Law, in addition to other economic reforms. He has also made significant changes to the security architecture of the country by firing all service chiefs, the Inspector General, the Comptroller General of Customs, and advisors. Furthermore, the president has met with stakeholders in the oil and tech sectors on the heels of removing the controversial subsidy of petrol. Assessing his administration so far, top political leaders believe that Nigeria is on the right trajectory.
People should not be afraid. His policies to be people-centric. And I can tell you that at the end of it all, the much-needed catapult that we have been looking for to take Nigeria to the next destination has arrived.
And I believe that with every energy that he has, right, he's going to represent this country. He's going to take it forward and build, an economy that will all be truly, happy with.
Admitting that Nigeria is a work in progress, others say Tinubu fits the criteria of a leader that can help the country regain its international standing.
There is nothing he has done so far that was not in his plan of action, that he did not amplify during the campaign. But because of Nigerians' previous failed promises, many didn't believe.
It's not that we lack anything in this way compared to other countries that we have. The challenge we have is for leaders and Nigerians to ensure equity, fairness, and justice for all.
Under the past government, Nigerians became a pariah in many nations. For instance, the UAE stopped flying to Nigeria. They banned Nigerians. We want one who can bring back our respect. Nigerians are industrious, they're hardworking. What they require is a good leader to propel them. And Tinubu will be that man, I believe so.
So, what should Nigerians look forward to?
Nigeria can only expect things to get better. It's a period of renewal, a period of renewed hope.
This is a great opportunity for this government to rebuild the foundations of the nation, to rebuild trust and confidence in government, to return public trust in public administration.
Nobody can solve our problems overnight, but when you start well, you give hope to the people.
While many have praised the president's policies and administration so far, some still believe it is still too early to give the administration a pass mark, as the government still has many challenges to overcome in the coming months and years. Niyi, Omoniyi, reporting for News Central Lagos.
And that's the assessment of the political elite, as I would put it, because at that place we met both serving and former governors of different states across the geopolitical zones in Nigeria. And of course, joining us to discuss this, we're going to be having, in the course of the show, a broadcast journalist at Law FM, Kinsley Bossy, and of course, our News Central correspondent, Dapo, Adegboye. We hope to get them soon. But before that, blessings. The report has spoken to a particular class, okay, which is the political class. And the common man at the electorate, the political class is supposed to be the ones serving. Do you agree with that assessment so far?
Well, so for the assessment of the administration, let me start with that. Now, a lot of times people would want to wonder why a lot of people criticize the incoming government so much. But in Nigeria, it's all about track record, right? I remember when a group of people were campaigning for one particular person. It wasn't just because of a sentiment. It was because that person had given them hope. So comparing this administration now, that's the Tinubu-led administration, to what it was when he was governor from 1999 to 2007, people now say that they're two different things, right? The governor of Lagos at that time is different from the president of Nigeria that they're seeing now. So going back to the electorate and, I mean, in Nigeria, that's not always the case, right? So I don't think that is what it is. I should agree, but in Nigeria, that's not the case, right? Yeah. And then talking about the administration as well, like they say, I think it's still too soon to tell. But notwithstanding, I think that we should still put our sentiments aside and know when someone is making efforts. Now, a lot of people will say that all the bills he's been signing into law, it only shows that he has the interest of a nation at heart. And when you see some other things come up, you would now want to wonder, is that actually true? But in the long run, right, let's look at it from, is this going to bring progress? Is this going to help the nation? If yes, then maybe it's for the greater good. Okay, so personally, I'm not in favor or against, but if I'm to rate by what we've seen so far, although I would say it started on the wrong note, and I remember we spoke about it on the show in terms of communication, and that was in the case of the fuel subsidy where there was a lot of rancor, and maybe now Nigerians started living with it because they adapt with so many things easily. And I think he saw that coming. I think he prepared for that. He prepared for that. It seemed like, so contrary to the opinion that this man might not be able to understand the plight of people, knowing that the party that left was also a party he is also a stakeholder in, and they weren't expecting much. And in just 3 weeks, going to 4 weeks now, clocking about a month, it seems like he's been on the right path so far. I'll pick one of the former governors, that's Ayo Fayose, who spoke, former governor of Ekiti State, who said, Nigeria cannot be repaired in a day. And I think, it might be currently in the right step, taking the right step and doing things he feel he should do. But let's quickly talk about the 4 bills he assented to. Okay. He assented to the bill of the judicial law, where he increased the age for retirement, data protection law. Now, this data protection law, I've had people speak about it that, what is this guy really trying to fight off? Is he still fighting for the issue of the NSAS, where people had access to Twitter and so many things? But we've not still been able to see what those law. We've not been open to what exactly it takes. What are the modalities of the implementation of the law? I was going to come there because you mentioned that it seems that he's on the right path. That's not an argument, but then again, some of these laws. I mean, the electricity bill, fantastic, right? Private organizations, companies, and can now disburse electricity and whatnot. But talking about the student loan bill, that is still a challenge. No, really, because it's still so I went out to a university, the University of Lagos, for one of my shows for FANUA, and I got talking with a lot of the students. It's not just from the media perspective now, from the students themselves. I wouldn't say that it 100% doesn't make sense. Again, the intentions are good. It's for the good of the people, but some of the clauses are, for lack of better word, let's pick the clauses ridiculous. One by one. Which of them are we talking about here? So let's start with the jail term. The jail term, okay. I will speak about the process before it gets to the jail term. Yeah, no, but okay, that's fine. Yeah, so the jail term, okay. There's a jail term. Then there is, let's go back to the process now. Okay. For you to be qualified for that, right, you must never have been involved in examination malpractice. Niyi, please tell me. No. Please tell me. No, for real. No. Like, who has not been involved, please tell me how possible. What examination malpractice is relative. Malpractice is relative. No. It's relative. No. Is what you're thinking. Is exactly what you're thinking. You must never have been involved. So when we say examination malpractice, is it one that has been docked and have been put in a register? So, for example, when you say sex offender, a sex offender is not just someone you've seen. You must have been in the register. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah. So there's exam malpractice. I'm just going to quickly say this. Now, they said, of course, your parents must not have defaulted, which is in repayment of it, which is okay. Then there is the fact that your entire family income must not be more than 500K. When I saw that, I was like, oh, fantastic. Annually. That was the spoiler. So that means that you must not earn more than 42,000 naira in a month. Please, what is the definition of poor? If 42,000 naira is, okay, let's say you earn 43, so you're disqualified from a student loan.
Yeah, and how much is minimum wage, right?
Do you understand?
Okay, so all that, we'll quickly go on a break, and I'm guessing we have a guest right now. We'll go on a break, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversations with our guest. And thank you for staying with us. If you're just joining us, you've not really missed much. We've been talking about an assessment done for the current administration in Nigeria's governance. And of course, now we have the broadcast journalist at Law FM, Kinsley Bossy, joining us, and New Central Correspondent, Dapo Adegboye. Welcome, gentlemen.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us.
Okay, so Kingsley, I don't know if you were following up with us earlier, and I and Blessing were about to dissect, especially the student loan. But let's take this holistically now. I was about to say Buhari. Oh my God, it's too fresh. Tinubus has assented to 4 bills so far, sacked the service chiefs, taking everybody aback, met with stakeholders, both in the oil and the tech industry, and it seems, aside the fuel subsidy, where some would say it took the bad foot forward, is actually taking the right foot forward now. From your own assessment, what do you think so far?
I'm not sure why exactly this is shocking to Nigerians. Again, it's my opinion. I'm not sure why this is shocking to Nigerians. This is what is expected of anyone who would have taken over from President Muhammadu Buhari. It is what anyone would expect. Hit the ground running. The man kept saying he was going to hit the ground running. He's doing that now. So there's nothing shocking, particularly shocking. I think, again, what might be something we need to look at, which you started talking about already, would be the student loan bill. And
yes, please.
Blessing is really concerned about this.
It's interesting that Blessing started talking about the malpractice part. I'm not sure how she got that degree, but I'm just saying. All right, so that's it. I think that's the only strange thing. The fuel subsidy thing was there before President Tinubu got to the presidential villa. What other bill now? Every other thing that's happening now, we knew was going to happen. And the president had no choice than to do these things. You need to remove fuel subsidy. Well, it now depends on the manner with which the removal happens. That's a conversation for later. But so far, so good. No strange moves, in my opinion. I do not see anyone. I see that everything is working as it should go. Now, the reason why Nigerians might be talking about this so much is because there were really maybe low or no expectations on the part of opposition supporters for President Bola Tinubu. And of course, considering the outcome of the elections too, and the fact that at the presidential election petition court, there's still hearings as to the cases presented by opposition parties. So a lot of their supporters, who happen to be Nigerians as well, would still look at the current administration with doubt, so much doubt. But I do not see anything strange or extremely fantastic with what's happening right now.
Okay, well, I mean, I would say that to some extent Nigerians would agree with you, but then again, the aspect that we're not really considering is the part that all of these things are coming into effect, but we're not considering one major thing, which is the standard of living of every average Nigerian. So one would expect that even though there's no review of the minimum wage just yet, which should also be considered, there should be incentives, which we've heard that they want to, put into action, talk about and all that. But we haven't seen anything. It was so quick to take out the subsidy. But how quick or how hard can it be to look for incentives, an alternative to help these people, to help Nigerians live better?
Dapo, I think that would be okay.
Oh, no, I want, okay.
Should I leave it for Kinsley to respond to?
So yeah, it was a follow-up question for Kingsley.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel
Kingsley
like
then.
at this point, yeah. Okay, so well, I did mention that with anybody who would have won the elections, would have taken over from President Buhari, you definitely would have, or the president would have had to deal with the fuel subsidy removal. So that was a given. Again, it would have been in the manner with which the president would have done that. That's where Nigerians would differ. I think it's still very much early days. And it's less than 30 days into the new administration, just 3 weeks. And it happens that the president, in these 3 weeks has had to travel to France for a summit. And there is going to be investors to look in the direction of the country, considering some of the economic plans and policies that is introduced with the central bank. So I think we need to stay hopeful, give the president a chance. Again, it's just 1 month. We know the convention, the traditional thing where we assess new administrations in their first 100 days. It's still about less than 30 days. And so let's see how things go. Yeah, it could be very difficult as we speak right now, especially because of the shock with which the fuel subsidy thing came. And of course, we can see what the market is saying. Forex and the rest, the economic policies that are changing with, and then the rest, all of those, the suspension of certain top officials and the rest, that is going to definitely affect the markets, affect the economy in so many ways. But you look at it and you want to say that for an administration that is just there, that is in power for just 3 weeks, maybe with the way it is going, just maybe, you never know. And again, we can discuss these bills, these policies, these directions, and say that it is so good. Yet we might not be looking or thinking deep into these policies. And eventually, deep enough into these policies. And eventually, there might be sites that we're not looking at. But for me, right now, it's looking maybe not so good, but it's just looking normal. And hopefully, they can make things happen and make it well.
Dapo, do you agree with Kingsley on this?
Well, Kingsley has actually made some really valid points. It's too early to start to sort of draw up a scorecard, concerning the administration, the new administration. It's barely a month, frankly. But again, let's look at it from this particular perspective. Some have argued that the current administration has done in barely 3 weeks what it would take up to 8 years,
exactly,
for some administrations in the past to accomplish. While some have said, no, the previous administration actually set the ground running. What this administration is just doing is implementing some of those things. Well, we've seen the change, the overhaul of service chiefs. For me, that's no surprise, because most times when you have a new administration, the new usually brings in people they feel comfortable with and people they can work with. So the recent overhaul across board, really much for me might not be much of news. However, the fuel subsidy issue has been at the front burner for months, for years. We've had Nigerians argue in the past, asking, has this subsidy really been removed? And we've seen price changes. And of course, this happened, right? Now, let's cast our mind back a bit. The economy is still struggling. The world is still trying to recover from COVID-19. People are still trying to get their finances right. And then the government says, you know what, we are running on a deficit. We cannot sustain the subsidy. Let us take it off. And that happened. They took it off, right? And we are beginning to bear the brunt. I know how much I buy fuel now, right? And you are saying again that student loans, which is actually a laudable idea, it's just that at the end of the day, before you graduate from school, you just know that you're already in debt. And maybe your first job.
Hold on. Dapo, I think you and Blessing actually have a thing with this student loan, though.
But again, right? I'll just quickly say
wait,
that I'm not against the idea.
Now, this is what's going to happen. I'm coming at something. So right now, that era of you having endless carryovers, right? might really stop, because you know that you are paying, you are in serious Bassey. So you might really want to, be serious with your studies. However, that being said, also, we've seen ASU and some other, institutions say that in countries where this is practiced, number one, they have a better working system there. Most students or most graduates are sure to at least get something,
a job,
substantial, right? Whilst some have also argued that some of them that, were not able to pay the loan ended up in depression. So, but that's a conversation.
Depression in jail.
Depression
as
in
the
jail.
case may be.
Okay, so Dapo. That
Yes.
third. Okay, I'm sure. I don't know. But maybe some of us are speaking from the pain of, maybe we have people that are already going through this and we're already envisaging it for some who also have daughters growing up. But let's look at these because just as you said, some people have said that this administration is taking steps that it would actually take some administration years to take. And let's pick some of those steps. He actually suspended the CBN governor, the EFCC chairman. And one thing I'm saying that is peculiar to this administration is he's trying to win over even the non-party people. He's trying to win over people from the Niger Delta. He's trying to win over the people that would be his opposition. Will this have any sort of positive implication on his administration? Kingsley, what do you think? Because after this, I want us to quickly go to the fact that some people are proposing that there should be an increase in their salaries, and that's another talk.
Oh, well, I think that if you look at the story, the political journey of the president, Bola Tinubu, you would know that, and this is my opinion of, historical, political history, especially of what we saw and what we know from Lagos State. And I think that if you think critically about it, you probably would understand what I'm saying. There is this strategy, this trend where wherever the president has a stronghold or whenever he's in power, opposition is weakened in some way. And how does that happen? You see that things would flourish in some way in such a manner, and then he would draw people to himself. He's quite open that way. Those close to him have said he's very accommodating and the rest. And in that manner, and you would see even with the PDP chieftain in Lagos, Bode George, already saying he is willing to work with the president. That way, gradually, opposition gets weakened. And you will see a situation where what happens is everyone is drawn closer. You begin to love the processes, the policies. You begin to love what the president is doing. And then gradually you have nothing to oppose. You have nothing to say negatively about the system. And that is the trajectory. I think that will happen in this administration, or there will be an attempt to make that happen in this administration. I see that's where we're gradually going to. You can see also the G5 paying allegiance, so to say, showing their support to the president. They did join the campaigns. Now it's time for governance, as we like to say, and yet they've gone to pay allegiance again. I think that it's just in the nature of the president. That maybe for me, his political style, right? That's how he does his things in such a manner that opposition will be weakened. People would begin to love the policies. It would appear. Maybe it really is. Well, time will tell. To appear people-friendly, it would appear like a policy or policies that were really made to make the economy better, make the country better. I think that's the direction we're going now.
Okay. Before I take Dapo's final thought, Kinsley, I would like to just quickly share this. On the aspect of the law, there's the commission, I'm trying to get the name of the commission, is actually recommending the salary increase for the president. And they're saying that it's been so long,
and not just the president,
about 16, vice president, governors, it's about 16 years this was last done. Constitutionally, is this in the constitution?
114% increase.
You just have to reiterate that, please, in a few seconds because of our time.
Niyi, that's the revenue mobilization allocation and fiscal commission, the one we're trying to remember. Yeah. Yes. And I think they were just doing their jobs, right? It is their job to review the salaries of government officials. That is exactly what they are meant to do. Is it the right timing to do this? I know this conversation started just before President Muhammadu Buhari left. I think that was just in 2022. Consultations were ongoing, but just I think it was just on Wednesday or so. I think that was last week when it was reported by NAN, I beg your pardon, the news agency of Nigeria. There was a meeting in Kebbi, and an official who was representing the Director General of the agency, of the commission, did say that they are recommending a 114%
increase. Okay, Kingsley, I do apologize for breaking you there. Dapo, let's just quickly take this one. Case is still in court. The tribunal, the election tribunal. What did you say? Dapo, what did you say?
Anyway, I mean, on the salary increase, let me just be very, very, very apt on it. Niyi, I think it's rather, as much as, you might want to give the current administration thumbs up on some of the, bold initiatives they've taken, I think this particular move is rather insensitive.
Insensitive.
And I'll tell you why.
Right, gentlemen, apologies, but because of our time, we would not be able to go further with this conversation. But really, thank you so much for your input. We're still here on Report Desk Africa. We'll go on a short break, and when we come back, more stories.